Blessings, everyone. Today we're going to talk about consciousness. A lot of times we spend talking about ascension and how ascension works, but we really haven't spent any time talking about the fundamental thing that drives ascension, that you and I fundamentally are, and that is consciousness. When we say, I am the one is the one pure consciousness that is all pervading in this universe, throughout creation. It is the infinite source expressing itself through all light in the manifested cosmos. The entire manifested cosmos is consciousness expressing itself as light. And that's what we are. We are light, which is intelligence known as consciousness. This consciousness, when vibrating, at the highest frequency of existence, is pure unconditional love. We call divine love. We call the state of unity. We call oneness. The frequency of one. Consciousness is who you are and who you will always be. It does not matter what vibration, the light that you are experiencing throughout this universe, whether it is very dense, like a rock, or, vibrating as high as you can vibrate within this universe. It is all consciousness. But when we begin to start our ascension journey, we come into an awakening. And that awakening is that, I'm not a human, I'm a soul, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. But it's more than that. It is that I am consciousness, the eternal I that exists through all things. There's a saying in the Upanishads, which is an ancient Vedic text, that says, in the heart of all beings lies the Atman, the true self. And this is consciousness. This is the true self, not the physical heart. The energy, heart center of our being, right? Coming into center, coming into balance, means we're coming into the purity of who we are as consciousness. And through ascension, we open that stargate. We are always connected as pure consciousness. So consciousness is what creates everything. Through light vibrating at various frequencies throughout our universe. All light is coded to have an experience. These are called light programs. We also can call them timelines, and the life experience. When we incarnate into these vessels as pure consciousness, we are coming into, a pure mind, but in our light, we are coded to have certain experiences. If you've ever played a video game like Mario Brothers, you will find that Mario has a set of levels he has to go through, in order to beat the game, right? So Mario, it's all planned out because the programmer who developed the game, that created the software, has built in this whole program. And then, you are playing it, you're Mario, and you're playing it through all the different levels in the different worlds. Our experience in these vessels is not much different than that. As consciousness is incarnated into the vessel, and it has programs for all levels or dimensions of this universe. So when you are created as a logos, you are brought out into creation, and your light as a unique expression of the source of pure consciousness of the infinite creator is programmed with what it will experience through multiple lifetimes and dimensions of this universe. So we come into this vessel, this time we are here, all of us that are watching this, and this consciousness that is speaking to itself through this video, are here in this vessel. And when we incarnated as a baby into the body, we incarnated with light programs. These light programs, they are carried with us through incarnation for when we reach certain triggers vibrationally. So many of us may have been on the human light program for quite some time, as we have been reincarnating on this planet, evolving through the dimensions, the lower dimensions. First, second, third, perhaps, we started here as space dust, I don't know. So we're continuing to evolve as consciousness comes into the body this lifetime and is playing the human light program. And the human light program is going to take us through the third to fourth dimension. And, it's our life as a human. Human consciousness is not the same as consciousness inhabiting this vessel. There's a difference. This vessel, I'm not running human consciousness through this vessel. So we tend to break out human consciousness as third dimensional, fourth dimensional consciousness. And we tend to say we are having a divine human experience when we ascend to New Earth, and we know we are operating as consciousness in a human vessel. So the human consciousness, we are really asleep to the totality of what and who we are as consciousness. And even as a soul, we may not even know that we are a soul. We may say, you know, that we're a soul because of our religion teaches us we have a soul, that, you know, we'll be in heaven one day, or whatever, you know, is taught to us in our own belief system that we're grown up with. Or perhaps we've grown up atheist and we just believe that we'll turn into, you know, the earth again one day by, you know, decomposition. So whatever that is, that's our human experience. And the human experience, it's a light program that's going to take us through let's see how to explain this. We are in deep separation. We thoroughly believe ourselves to be separate from nature, separate from the rest of creation. We may believe in one singular Godhead, masculine Godhead, and we may treat others as they are something outside of ourselves. So it is I am very much in the ego self as something separate than everything else. And that affects how we talk to people. It affects how we deal with people. We have not come into deep gratitude and respect for life. So it is a light program that plays out within us, and it's triggered to start when we are born, and perhaps it will run the entirety of our life, and we will die, which we won't really die, but the vessel will cease to be, and we will incarnate into another vessel to continue running that program. Now, most of us obviously are coming out of the human program because we're going through collective ascension. So the human program is not playing, it's still playing. As you know, we have to really embody the next program before we can truly let go of the last. So there's this time where you're kind of walking in both worlds, and this takes a lot to the fourth dimension, where we are awakened to the fact that we are a soul. At this point, we still may not really truly understand consciousness as something that you can't break consciousness apart. It can't be separated. So through our brains and our eyes, we perceive tree, body, you know, bird, person, car, etc. So we see consciousness separated out only because our mind and our senses are designed to show consciousness that way, so we can have the experience. Like Mario in the game, there's not really any trees or little ducks and all the things that are in Mario Brothers. It's really just light that is on your screen that is making it look like that's what's there. But actually it's just energy. And that's what we are. And consciousness is energy. It's light, and it cannot be broken apart. We only see it separated because of our eyes. But in the human program, we're not aware of any of that. As we begin to awaken, you know, into the next part of our, the next light program that's going to come on within us, and this is tied to our DNA, so this is more DNA is activating within the 12-strand DNA configuration. We activate more DNA, which begins to change our consciousness. It's triggered. You see, everything is predestined in that sense of when the next program will trigger, when the consciousness will awake, we will really go through an entire change within what we like, how we dress, what colors, we may begin wearing different colors as we are vibrating through different dimensions, because different colors represent different frequencies. So if, like in the fourth dimension, there's a lot of green going on because we are awakening to our soul. We are awakening to our Gaia consciousness. We become less of that human, I'm just one separate self, to we start waking up to Mother Earth, and we are a part of her, and she is a part of us, and so our colors become very earthy, greens, blues, browns, because we are starting to vibrate in those frequencies. We want to change our appearance to so, and this is, everything is a vibrational response to us. Consciousness is vibration, it's energy. So this next light program triggers within us, and our soul consciousness begins to wake up. And, there again, we change in our colors, and eventually, we run through that soul program. Throughout this, it starts in the fourth. We're kind of blended in with the human light program still. And that takes us really into the fourth and the fifth, where we're trying to balance the masculine and feminine aspects of our soul. And then once those come into balance, we are in the sixth dimension, and we can open into our oversoul. And here we may start, with the indigos and the purples and the, because we're really starting to connect all of our self across space-time. Who are we as a soul? And that is another light program that starts running. So, as we move from the soul into the oversoul, we start fading out. That human light program starts going away. And then eventually, when we pierce through, oversoul consciousness in the ninth dimension, really the soul consciousness goes away. So our identity as a human completely, it goes away. Are we living in a vessel on the planet? Are we still going to the grocery store? Yes. But what changes is the way we interact with our hologram and with other people that are our hologram. And we don't interact with that same human, separate consciousness that we once did. That program's over within us. We've purified ourselves of it. That light is gone out of us. So we cannot interact. And so this is why sometimes you get that vibrational mismatch with people. And it is difficult until we can come into wholeness within. Then we can accept when that comes into our field, because we don't take it in. We actually just transmute to love. So we're able to, but there's this stage where it's like, oh, I can't deal with that energy. I need it to go away, and that's just part of us through our ascension. We are letting go of other old programming. So, that human one will begin to subside. So that means the way that we interact with the world changes. We are more soft with others, more grateful, more accepting of our reality. Humans are not, for the most part, accepting of reality. A lot of complaining, a lot of, why me, da 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 da. So see, this is what I mean when I say the human light program. And that begins to change. And we're going into the soul program, our vibrations changing. Like I said, the colors that we wear change, the way that we perceive our world changes. We become, perhaps we want to help people more, because this has to open up within us. We're ready to serve, because now we see that I am everything, and I want, at this point we're still having ego, because I want to help. And that's part of the process. Part of the process is that we need to go through that, because that's that is helping to break down that separation. So the ego's going to, I want to help, and I'm a soul, and so we have both, the mind and the heart going. And like I said, we move into the Oversoul Light program, and here we are really understanding who we are across the dimensions. And this is the 9th down, and we begin to understand that, perhaps I am also on, X star system or Y galaxy, and I have a mission that I need to accomplish here on this planet. I'm a star seed. I'm here to do this or that. And then again, what we wear, the colors we wear, like I said, we may start tuning into golds and purples, indigos, blues, starting to bring in some white into the mix, because our frequencies are changing. So we are changing. Excuse me. And eventually we're going to pierce that into God consciousness. And that's where we really let go of the soul. So that human identity, that human light program goes away, and then, that soul light program will go away. And we really won't identify with ourselves as soul. And it's a big step. This is not something that is mainstream into our world, but it is something that I'm going to talk about, because I might not want to talk about it in X amount of years, because when we talk about things that are relevant to ourselves as consciousness, this is why we build. We share as we go. You are sharing your journey with consciousness, with itself, as you go, leaving the light for the next to follow. Because when you ascend out of something, it becomes difficult to go back and talk about that program, because it's not here anymore. So yes, the God consciousness begins to open in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frequencies. And this is another light program. This is coming online with, who am I as the creator of this whole thing, And we may take on the masculine creator or the feminine creator before we merge into realizing that we are both, because we're coded in our light. Like I am coded the aqua ray, so I resonate with that divine mother frequency more. But that does not mean that I did not have to embody the divine father, the Sophia and the Christos, both, to become the infinite creator. And so in those, that's another light program that begins running. And these little light programs are all part of our Ascension light program that started really when we became a Logos and left the infinite source to experience separation. So when consciousness transcended into light, to come out into the manifested cosmos, to experience itself in separation, that's as soon as that Ascension program starts. And we are consistently working through lifetime to get back. And this is what we're doing through the physical vessels. We're actually ascending our consciousness back to that original state in these physical vessels. And so again, DNA is activating. As our frequency, we have light quotients in our body, so as our body can purify and accommodate more light, more DNA is coming online, and that is going to allow our body to begin these new light programs, which are also building new templates in our body. Our blood, our bones, our teeth, everything gets reworked. It's really amazing process what these bodies are doing, because we have, our crystalline light body. This is like, up to our soul and oversoul consciousness. Then we have our plasma light body. And this plasma light body is our pure, full diamond sun body. And, we're just radiating liquid plasma light. The vessel does funny things. Some days it's hidden, some days it's not, because we are suns. And depending on how much light we are bringing in, it just, the vessel changes. So life changes. And with each of these programs, all of that changes. Even what we wear again, like for this vessel, I'm very much comfortable wearing white. It is not, when I first started wearing white, it was more of a spiritual thing. I still had, I was still going through playing out this mother god, highly advanced spiritual being kind of thing with my ego. And you have to let that go. I wear white because white vibrates at every frequency of this universe. It is very much more peaceful for me energetically to wear white than it is to wear a color. Because a color is going to take me into separation. It's going to vibrate only at one frequency. And I find that uncomfortable because I want to vibrate at all the frequencies, because I am all of it. So this is our journey. And if you watch other beings too who have gone through ascension, and you go back and look at the videos, you can see the transformation in everyone, because it's vibrational and we cannot get out of it, because it's what feels right to us as consciousness. So again, the light programs are going to come on with the DNA activations. These are programs that are triggered when we can carry enough light in our vessel at certain frequencies. We have to purify the vessel in stages. It takes an immense amount of pressure, like physical pressure, to purify the bones and the cells of the body. Because I went through an accelerated ascension in this vessel, I went through an immense period of intense pain and grew my physical body, the bones. Literally, I grew an inch in less than a year. It was extremely painful. And so the masses, we're not going to do that, because can you imagine the whole world going through that? We can't shut down the world for that to happen. And it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience. So we are creating a diamond sun body. So we are diamonds, and we are living crystals. So this vessel doesn't need crystals when I go out to do work across the planet, because I am the crystal, and you too will become the living crystal. But it takes an immense amount of pressure to create a diamond, right? And this happens with our bodies because we have to release the old and expand the light into the new. And it's done in increments, safely, so that it's an enjoyable experience. It allows the consciousness to adjust, because we cannot have this dramatic ascension for everyone, or the planet just absolutely would not be able to ascend harmoniously. So that's another thing to think about, that some of the folks that we are consciousness embodied in these vessels that have gone through full ascension, it was an accelerated process. So again, don't ever compare yourself to anyone, because you are unique and you are going through your journey at the right stage that you as consciousness want to go through it. Not what your mind as something separate wants, but you as consciousness, as the one, are going to go through. So every day, really be grateful for who you are and where you are on your journey, and trust in your heart of hearts that you're right where you need to be. I promise you, every one of us is exactly where we need to be. And we are all one consciousness. Remember, the mind filters the light. So just as you are watching on your TV screen Mario go through the different, and you see the pictures and you see the little turtle, and that's filtered through your television. Those little particles of energy come in and they get on the screen and they make this thing. Well, that's what the brain does for consciousness, for light. It is a filter that allows us to create tree, body, taste. So consciousness, if you have never really studied or come into an understanding of what it means to be one, non-duality, as pure consciousness, that you, that is taking the very breath in your body at this moment, are not separate from anything. The Creator and the creation are one. All of it is you. Because you can never be separate from yourself. And we really come into this deep sacred respect for everyone and everything when we understand this. We never take advantage of another. We always give gratitude. We love ourselves. We love everything. Because we know that there is no separation. Everything is connected. The times that we find ourselves in are really pushing each and every one of us to see this. If you zoom out into or zoom into our planet and you see the fires raging across our planet, if you will see that is forcing us to see that we are all one in this together, that we have to face this as one humanity. Just as in your own live stream right now, you may be faced with things that are pushing that part. If you want to be separate, if you want to be, separate from the whole, then those things inside of you are going to get pressed. They're going to get pushed because we're moving into unity consciousness. So you can't be special and everyone else be here. You are special. Everyone else is special. It's all one. It's all special. We are all here as one consciousness in these vessels. Some of us are working with the blueprint. Some of us are leading the collective ascension in ways of sharing, when big things are going to happen on the planet. Some of us are working without ever talking to the masses or anyone, and just holding frequencies. Some of us are helping to heal others, when we're going through our dimensional awareness, when we're in that soul consciousness especially, we're really helping other beings. And that's the point. It's a stepping up to sovereignty. Because when you get to the place of pure sovereignty, you know that there's no one to save. There's no one to heal. There's no one to help. Only by doing those things to yourself does it happen outside of you. If you're trying to heal something outside of you or someone outside of you, then there's something inside of you that needs to be healed. And you can take that if you want, or you can leave it if you want. But it's tried and true, I will tell you. Everything outside of you is you. There is nothing else here. There is no one else here. It's all consciousness. So watch your perception of others to see where you yourself still have separation within. Watch your judgment of others to see what you have inside of you that you need to release judgment for. Because when we come into wholeness within, the only thing that we will see in others is the divine. And we have compassion for the divine that is still not fully awake. For all the beings that are struggling, we see the divine waking up, and we have compassion. We don't judge, and we don't try to fix anything, because each is entitled to their journey as consciousness, just as you and I have been entitled to our journey as consciousness. All are playing their light programs for whatever stage or whatever level of the game that they are on. And when we come into full embodiment, the 12th dimension, fully embodied as the infinite creator in these vessels, I'm not separate from the source. I'm not separate from the infinite creator. I am the source, infinite creator, one consciousness, fully awake in this vessel. I am outside of the dimensions at this point, living outside of the programs in the eternal now. As a part of humanity, as a part of the collective consciousness of this planet, I am a part of the collective light program that is playing out. Individually in this vessel, there are no light programs playing out. There is no separation anymore, so there is no separate program to play. When we're playing Mario Brothers, sometimes we have to go through the first level 10 times, 20 times. Days we're playing the first level. We cannot beat Bowser at the end. And I apologize if you don't know Mario Brothers, but it was part of my childhood. So we play that level over and over and over until we get it, right? Or just like anything in our lives. We're learning to knit, and we go to knit over and over and over trying to learn a stitch. Or we're learning how to weld, and we over and over and over until we get it. And then it just becomes like you pick up the controller, you can just blast through level 1. You pick up a needle, you can just do a scarf in a day, or you can weld a sculpture. So this is the same with these light programs. We're going to stay in that light program until we can master that dimension or that frequency. And when we master it, we move on. And another light program is playing out for us. If you want to know where you are on this journey, that is quantum. So you could have mastered, compassion through all 9 dimensions, but, overall you're still vibrating in the 4th dimension or 5th dimension because you haven't mastered everything else. So understand that, but take a tune to yourself. Look at yourself, your likes, your dislikes, see where you have changed. Look at photographs of yourself. You can see the change within yourself. It will happen. It might be gradual, but when we go back and we can look at it, we're wow, and I certainly didn't see it when I was in it, and I had a major transformation as I went through from the human to the Gaia consciousness, that fourth dimensional female soul consciousness, connecting into the moon cycles, connecting into the planet, and then moving from that into, embodying the soul and the oversoul. And you can just really see that in my physical appearance. And you watch your own and see. So as consciousness, remember, the heart of all beings lies the Atman, right? And we are taking that consciousness that when I first began to awaken, I would see, in my mind's eye, the cave of my heart. And in the cave of my heart was a little pedestal. Well, I was going to say little, but a pedestal. And it held this round, glowing white light. And that was my soul. That was my soul. And as I went through consciousness ascension, that soul, actually, when I ascended past the sixth dimension, that soul, when I looked into my heart, was no longer a cave. There was a sun, like our sun, Solaris, here. And as I went through the oversoul, there was a galaxy here, until the whole universe was there. Your center is who you are. Always come back here. We're going to get triggered. We're going to get pulled. It doesn't go away when we get to the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension. It goes all the way through all the dimensions, because we're going to completely purify ourselves through all dimensions of space and time in this universe. So accept that and realize that your reactions to the triggers, they get less and less. So less and less do you come away from the heart, the center, the core of who you are. Right now, take a deep breath. As you ascend, the deepness of that breath to get back to center, in the beginning you might take a deep breath, take it back. As you ascend, that deep breath, it shortens. Because you are less and less away from who you are until you're just breathing always in and out from that place. So you're just resonating from that place. And when you're triggered, it happens, and it's easier to come back. It's a journey. Ascension is a journey through the different dimensions, the different light programs of our consciousness, the different identities of our consciousness, through the soul, solar, connected with our sun and solar system, to the galactic, it's the oversoul, it's all the galaxies of our universe, right? To the universal, which is connected to the infinite source, and all of us as the universe itself. And you will become the whole universe. You will become everything, beloved, because you are everything. It's a journey. And right now, it may feel very difficult, because it is. For humanity as a collective, the whole planet as a collective, the kingdoms, they're suffering too. So the energy's really, it's pressing us, right? We are, as a collective, we're becoming a diamond too, a diamond sun body. So we're getting squeezed. And you individually, you may be getting squeezed. But know that you will never get squeezed so hard that you break. It might break the mind or the programming, but it will never break you. It will never break you. You are becoming a diamond solar heart, a diamond sun body, a sun of creation, as the infinite source, shining your light upon this planet and all of creation. You are pure consciousness, which means you can never be separate from anything. The mind is going to separate your reality for you. See without the eyes. See with the heart. Feel. Compassion instead of judgment will bring you into unity instead of separation. Forgiveness instead of turning your back on something or someone will create unity, not separation. Within yourself too, forgiving yourself brings you into unity. Judging yourself or beating yourself up, separation. Practicing those divine attributes, being those divine attributes, is going to bring you into unity. Pure consciousness is who you are. You are light. We are light. And when we can vibrate in the frequency of one, of unconditional love, loving everything unconditionally doesn't mean we have to keep it right here in our reality. Doesn't mean we have to agree with it. We love it unconditionally regardless, and allow it the space to be what it is. Allow each the space to be where they are on their journey without judging. No one's judging you here. Everything that is shared here is shared from this level of consciousness. When you are ready to receive it at this level of consciousness, you will receive it. If you feel you are being judged, this is an opportunity for you to go inside yourself and see why you feel you're being judged. Because this is an open space. No one's judging anyone. Everything is shared here as the one for the one. There is no agenda. There is only love. Pure, unconditional love. I love you so very much. You are loved, and you are the one pure consciousness that is unconditional love. If you forget, take a deep breath. Close your eyes and look inside your heart, and you will find